Audio Jungle.
From different disciplines, but especially most of us are drawn from the animal science, veterinary science, social sciences, and so on. So as many of you may recall, Mr. President inaugurated this committee on the 9th of July. And the committee began work immediately after inauguration. And we have been able now to produce what we call an inception report, which contains very wide-ranging recommendations as to how our country can tap the potentials of the livestock sector in terms of opening up the value chain in this sector and ensuring that by so doing, we develop all sectors in the value chains to enhance economic growth and development, create jobs, and also ensure that we are not only able to bring about food, feed, and nutrition security, but we are also able to significantly begin to export many of the products that are associated with this sector. We believe that there has been a neglect of this sector for a very long time, and we are very happy that Mr. President has recognized the need to redress this neglect and has invited us to contribute to finding ways and the means of unlocking the opportunities in this sector. In terms of job creation or in terms of development of products and services, or even opening up opportunities for export related to these aspects of the livestock sector. Of course, the key issue is focused implementation of the recommendations and periodic review to see where there is need for repositioning and or strengthening of focus and effort in the actualization of these recommendations. I'm very pleased to say that Mr. President has given us full support and encouragement to continue to also drive the process of the implementation, of course, with the new ministry in the driving the process. So we have expressed our thanks and appreciation to Mr. President for giving us the opportunity to contribute to national development through trying to reform this sector, which has great potential, but which for long has been neglected. In fact, one of the important things relating to reforming this sector and expanding the opportunities is that it also has strong, remarkable potential for mitigating some of the perennial conflicts that have been associated, particularly with activities of the pastoralists and the nomadic herders who are quite prevalent in the livestock sector. And we've also made recommendations in terms of how some of these challenges can be addressed. So we are, on our own part, happy that we've been given the opportunity and we've made these recommendations, and we are also being given the opportunity to continue to contribute to the process of implementation of these recommendations. So, the immediate short-term plan is, of course, sensitization and public enlightenment, and the engagement with communities, and the beginning to revive those traditional conflict resolution mechanisms, but on the on the basis of justice and fair play. And we believe that there is a lot that many stakeholders a role that many stakeholders can play in order to bring this about. So at our committee, we've interrogated these challenges. We've come up with some suggestions, and we believe we can begin to address some of these challenges while we continue to perfect them and think of more suitable and appropriate models to do that. But as we improve productivity in the value chain entirely, then obviously the more it becomes easier for people to realize that it is not just enough to be moving hundreds of herds of cattle. It is also important to begin to see how they can imbibe new technologies and increase productivity, and be able to really get tremendous incomes and wealth from what they already have. So my colleagues, I'm sure, will contribute to the other questions. But
for digitalization, and also to put in place the ability to be able to get data real time. And this afternoon, when we met with Mr. President, I think he spoke about this. So it's going to be a time, we are entering an era where we have to be able to know that it is possible, and it is the right thing to do, to have data real time, and then be able to actually monitor how data of our animals are moving in terms of number from one location to the other. So that is going to help a lot in terms of even tracking where these animals are, and then also be able to help us in planning, because you have to know how many animals you have at a time to be able to know what planning to do in terms of finance and other cross-cutting issues. And then also, as the committee has also recommended, the idea of gene bank is also going to feature very much in the operation of the ministry, because most of our, animal genetic resources have been lost. We are losing them, and we need to harness them, store them, and see how we can use the information to improve on the breeds that we have, whether it's for meat or for milk or whatever parameters that we want to look for in order to boost the economy at a higher level. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much.
The National Bureau of Statistics had the National Agricultural Sample Census and the projections by the Federal Department of Animal Husbandry Services. We have these numbers for our livestock: 563 million poultry, 600 million sheep, 124 million goats, 58 million cattle, 16 million pigs. This is a huge number for investors. If you take the feed industry for an example, all these animals need feed. You can imagine the volume of investment you will have in the feed industry. So investors in the livestock sector, with this pronouncement by Mr. President, the establishment of a livestock development, Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, the investors are more assured that a focus on the livestock sector, with this number, Nigeria has the largest number of livestock in West Africa, and we are about fifth in the whole of Africa. Poultry alone has over 1.7 trillion investment. And what the reforms that we have put in place and the reforms we are proposing will try to do is to move the ruminant side from moving them from 1% in intensive production. Intensively, only 1% of our ruminants are reared intensively, about 85% extensively. So what does that tell you? 85% are in the hands of the pastoralists. So the reform is to gradually move and spread that production system like we have in the poultry sector, where you have 21% in the intensively reared. If we can balance a bit, and like the co-chair has said, it's not either or, but balancing and moving easily so that you have reduced number of animals held extensively, and then bringing investors to assure economic growth by investing in these different sectors and the different value chains that you have in the livestock sector. So this is what I will just try to encourage, that investors, with this pronouncement by Mr. President and the renewed hope that he has brought in the livestock sector, investors are going to benefit hugely. And Nigerians too. Our nutrition security will be more assured now than we have. You know, we say food security. If you don't have the animal source food, you don't have nutrition security. You can have food security without nutrition security. So we need the animal source food to assure us of food and nutrition security. I will stop here.
All right, thank you so very much. Professor Yaye. Yes,
Thank you, Co-Chair, and Professor Placid Njoku and Director Winnie.
Audio Jungle.